April 19th, 1775. Gunfire echoes across the village green in Lexington, Massachusetts. No one knows who fired the first shot, but that sound would change the world forever. This is the story of how 13 British colonies rebelled against the mightiest empire on earth and gave birth to a new nation, the United States of America. For more than 150 years, the American colonies had grown under British rule. But as the 1700s rolled on, tension simmered beneath the surface. After the costly French and Indian War, Britain looked to its colonies for money, imposing taxes on paper, tea, and other goods. The colonists cried out, "No taxation without representation." They believed that only their own elected assemblies, not Parliament in distant London, had the right to tax them. Protests turned to riots. Riots turned to bloodshed, most famously in the Boston Massacre of 1770, where British soldiers opened fire on unarmed civilians. And when the British imposed the Tea Act, angry patriots dumped an entire shipment of tea into Boston Harbor, a bold act of defiance known as the Boston Tea Party. In April 1775, British troops marched to seize colonial weapons in Concord, Massachusetts. But American militiamen, known as Minutemen, stood ready. The first shots rang out at Lexington and Concord. The shot heard round the world had been fired, and the American Revolution had begun. Soon after, the colonies formed the Continental Army, led by George Washington, a Virginian farmer and former British officer. Across the colonies, ordinary men left their homes and farms to fight for liberty. By 1776, the fight had spread. British forces captured cities along the coast, and thousands of colonists faced a choice: remain loyal to the crown or risk everything for independence. On July 4, 1776, delegates of the Second Continental Congress signed the Declaration of Independence, written largely by Thomas Jefferson. It declared that all men are created equal, and that government derives its power from the consent of the governed. The colonies were no longer subjects, they were free states. But freedom would not come easily. The early years were brutal. Washington's army faced defeat after defeat, driven from New York, starving at Valley Forge, and constantly short on weapons and supplies. Yet even in the darkest times, their spirit held strong. At Trenton, Washington crossed the icy Delaware River on Christmas night, 1776, surprising the Hessian troops and scoring a much-needed victory. Across the ocean, France watched closely. After the American victory at Saratoga in 1777, the French finally joined the war, providing ships, soldiers, and vital funds. The struggle for independence had become a global war. By 1781, the British Army, led by General Cornwallis, dug in at Yorktown, Virginia. Washington saw his chance. With help from the French Navy under Admiral de Grasse and troops led by the Marquis de Lafayette, the Americans trapped the British on all sides. After weeks of siege, Cornwallis surrendered his army. The war was effectively over. 2 years later, the Treaty of Paris was signed, officially recognizing the United States of America as an independent nation. The revolution had cost over 25,000 American lives, but it birthed a nation built on liberty and democracy. The ideals of 1776 would inspire revolutions and movements around the world for centuries to come. The American Revolution wasn't just a war. It was the beginning of an idea: that freedom and self-government belonged to the people, not kings. From Lexington to Yorktown, the courage of ordinary people forged a nation that would change the course of history. This was the American Revolution, the birth of the United States of America. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more stories that shaped our world.